I think we should revert back for a moment to the conversation about relationships and being overweight and that type of thing. Because you had mentioned that, you know, some women support and, you know, admire the dad bod. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that there's a single woman on the fucking planet that is attracted to a dad bod. I don't believe it. There's a reason.
I don't.
Yeah,
Look,
we
talked about the novels,
It's a fallacy.
right?
every romance novel that has ever been written in human history has on the cover a man with a six-pack. Who's buying the romance novels? I know it ain't us.
Yeah.
So when a woman says
Yeah,
that, listen, when a woman says that they like their husband's dad bod, what they're really saying is they don't like the idea of being with somebody who is physically fit and disciplined, who might have that same expectation of them.
Wow.
You know, and a lot of them aren't aware of this.
Oof.
And people, women have tried to debate me on this topic at length. And I always bring it back to this point. It's like, look, you love your husband. You're a phenomenal woman, and you are your husband's biggest cheerleader, as you should be. But I would argue that you wouldn't be attracted to the same body on another man, right? It's like, oh, now that you say that 100% of the time, and it just kind of flips the perspective. But I think if there was an underlying thesis to this, if you want to have a good relationship, if you want to have a healthy relationship, if you want to have a fulfilling relationship, if you want to have the best relationship that you're capable of having, you should be prioritizing your physical fitness, eating clean, because I mean, especially as a man, I don't like to go too hard on women, but as a man, like, you know, you real men are the leaders of their household, and your girl, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, she fell for the fit, energetic, vibrant version of you, not the fat, lethargic, fucking downgrade.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, most marriages these days are ending in divorce. I don't think that's a secret to anybody. A lot of guys are in sexless marriges.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah, right. Because
Of course. Look at yourself.
There was a stat that came out that said that I think it was upwards of almost 30% of men over the age of 30 haven't been laid in the past 3 to 4 years.
3/4.
3/4
That's crazy.
have been laid because COVID caused the separation.
That's why crime
epidemic.
is up. I
don't think it's just that. I think it's a combination of the, you know, people under 30's addiction to social media, and that's how they're interacting. Right.
That's
and you know, when you get in a real world scenario, when there's a female there, like, you don't know what to do. If you don't have the confidence, if you don't have the communication skills, if you don't have if I'm just going to come out and say it to the young men out there who aren't getting sex, if all you're doing all day is jerking off to fucking Pornhub, you will never have that masculine energy that is needed to approach that good-looking girl who's probably way out of your league and throw whatever game you can at them. Like, you have to be willing to, you have to be a little horny to do that, to put yourself out there like that.
And to back what you said, Hinge had the data came out, come to find out that 95% of women on dating apps are going after the top 5% man.
Of course.
5'10", $100,000, fit body. And that means that 95% of men aren't being seen on the dating apps.
Yes.
Well, hold on. I got news for you. Hinge is not designed for you to find your soulmate. Hinge, do you think the platform Hinge will survive if people just constantly find a relationship on Hinge? No.
Yeah.
It's designed for you to not find your ideal other person, or else you're off the platform. Think about it, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I got a couple things.
Yeah, please.
Hey Matt, don't kill me for this, but this is getting too spicy. We're gonna have to go a little longer. This is bro. This is good.
Is that okay,
Right?
Matt?
This is juicy,
Thank you, brother.
So
We appreciate that.
yeah, thank you, brother. So a couple of things. By the way, I got some stats for you.
Cool.
According to the CDC, 150 people die every day from fentanyl. Right. Also, America is the most obese country in the world. Okay, I don't know how many countries there are in existence right now, but we are the most
Congratulations,
obese,
America.
Right, we're the most obese country in the world. Brother, can you imagine, by the way? So I have I have a business in a couple of foreign countries, and part of the requirements in that country is military service.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you imagine if America had a requirement of some type of physical criteria or obligation? Can you imagine who and what we would be? Because I remember before I came to this country, when I thought of America, I thought of a strong warrior-like
Yeah.
nation. And statistically, and according to the data, we're far from that,
Yes.
right?
And it's getting
And not
worse.
only
We're
that,
far from that.
I just read that actually America is no longer in the top 20 countries of happiness.
Wow.
So, I mean, which again
the
should come as a
correlation,
surprise to
right?
nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back to what you were saying about relationships, a couple of other things that I wanted to comment on that specific subject was one, so you don't believe in women, justifying being attracted to their significant other, when they say things like, "Oh, baby, you're chunky but funky," right? Or, right, "Oh,
Who
baby,"
says that, bro? What?
or, "Hey, baby, it's November, it's big boy season," right? Like, so you don't believe. Okay, first of all, you don't believe in that,
Big
right?
boy season.
And it's big boy season, right? One thing that I've noticed, by the way, is, have you noticed that in a relationship, many times that couple becomes complacent, that couple conforms, that couple settles, and they both, when they met, they were one person, right? They looked a certain way, they behaved a certain way, right? During the dating period, right? That's when you're kind of peacocking, you know what I mean? But then as the relationship prolongs and it continues, well, people begin to become lazy. And then if something happens, if the relationship falls apart, what is the first thing those two individuals go do when that happens?
They get fit.
They get back in shape.
Yeah, so true.
They get back in shape, right?
To get back in the game.
They get back in the game, to get back in the hunting season, right? Now, if you think about it logically, it doesn't make any sense. Why, if you really love that person that you claim to love, why wouldn't you want to be your best?
Absolutely. If you actually care about your wife, your husband, your children, you should want to be the fittest, healthiest, best version of you, because the fittest, healthiest version of you is the best version of you. And there's zero exceptions to that rule. 79% of Americans get zero exercise. Zero exercise.
Sick.
I know it's pathetic. It's just stunning to me. And, obviously with the obesity epidemic, where we're at with that, everybody's fat. So it's like, oh, everybody's fat. So people aren't even recognizing
the comparison, right? If you're not constantly comparing yourself to people on social media, right? If you're constantly comparing yourself to your family or your peers, you're like, well, everybody's overweight, we're good.
Well, and also we're in an acceptance culture.
It's
like,
bullshit.
oh, you gotta love me. It's like
who I am,
if I love you, I'm gonna call you out.
Correct.
True.
Yeah. If I love you, I'm going to shame you. Shame gets such a bad rap in
Shame.
society.
Shame.
Shame. You're in a Spartan culture. Shame culture was part of every single one of the most feared dominant warrior cultures in human history. Alexander's Macedonians, the Spartans, the Greeks, all of them maintained a shame-based culture. And what do I mean by that? They were unrelenting as it related to the standards that they had in place. And if you were not up to standard, then you would be shamed until you fix that.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's
Or you just wouldn't be.
correct.
Like you just wouldn't be a part of the culture.
And in the community that I was
you have
in,
no place.
the Navy diving community, there was a shame-based culture there as well. Like if somebody wasn't performing up to standards, people, they don't come in like, oh, hey buddy, let me move over. Let me show you how to do that. That's not the way it went down. Yeah. It was tough love. I mean, but tough love, the thing about tough love, it's love.
You should see my household, brother. You can only imagine. You guys know my wife very well. I don't even call it shame. I call it accountability. Right?
It's very big.
I hold my wife accountable at the mental level, at the physical level, and at the spiritual level. My wife and I are raising our children, right? And you know, I got 2 daughters. I got an 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. And what do we dads always say? Right? You got a daughter, right? What do we always say? That we want our daughters to date a man like their father.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, that goes, right? That goes all across the board.
Yes.
Mentally, physically, and spiritually. So you don't think don't get me wrong. I may not be in the best. 2021 was the best shape I was in my
Mhm.
life, right? I was out of this world to my standards. And I will get back there.
And we will get
Right,
back
we
there.
will
And
get
we're going
back
to do
there.
a podcast. We're
Yeah,
going to talk
we
about
will.
that is going to happen.
We
We're
are
gonna
back.
have
We
you
will
have
get
your
back
shirt
there.
off the whole
But we're
podcast.
already there.
By the way, I've already said that. You know how
Time
Andrew
just hasn't
Tate does
caught up.
podcasts sometimes without his shirt?
Yeah, you should do that.
Remember this.
I will.
Remember this. Right? Just
You gonna
remember.
take off your shirt
right?
right now?
Done.
Not one day, sometime soon.
Day one, baby.
I might be doing some podcasting and I might be doing a lot of content without a shirt.
I
And
love
I'm
it.
not
Yeah.
gonna care.
I love it.
be-
That's going to take
You
the
don't think
ratings
I
of the
love
show to
it?
the next
Bro,
level.
I love watching your stuff when you're freaking just killing it and you're displaying, you look like a freaking Spartan.
Thank you,
bro,
brother.
I'm naturally I got that warrior inside me, just
Yeah.
like you, right?
I think.
No
well,
disrespect to
touch,
you, you're more like a monk, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But-
Well, I
So they're
think
good
that
partners.
if you do have the warrior spirit, you like to see other warriors, right? You admire it. And for men, it's not just about being fit. It's, are you capable?
Correct.
Oof.
Are you
Hold on.
capable? Are you capable to take care of your family? Are you capable to help them in a time of need? Are you capable to lead even? Because if you aren't physically fit, if you aren't disciplined, then I would argue that's why your woman probably doesn't let you lead, right?
Yeah.
So it's both sectors that you have to look at. You have to look at the man, you have to look at the woman, but ultimately your woman is your accountability. Right? You're the one that you are supposed to be leading your woman. So if she's not living up to your standards as well, that's your fault.
Facts.
I think it's just like going to the beach. If you go to the beach, why would you give your woman the chance to look at another man's body
Mm.
when everybody should be looking at her man's body and wishing that they had what he had?
Oof.
The biggest
Ooh.
change for me was I remember I was at home and my son just turned 1 and I had my shirt off and my son is looking at me like I'm a god. My son is looking at me like I'm everything in the world. But I didn't want my son to look at me and be like, oh, this is how I should be. I should be fat and obese. That's the best way for me to be because this is my example of my father. So it just made me think, I'm like, wow, literally me being overweight is poisoning my child and poisoning his future because I'm not giving him an accurate representation of what a man role model should be.
Yes.
That kid's probably going to grow up idolizing somebody else.
Yeah.
Not me, because
Well,
he's gonna be like,
probably
oh, that
gonna grow
guy's
up-
physically fit. My dad's a fat ass.
He's probably gonna grow up idolizing Chris.
Right.
Well,
Not anymore. I made the
Zay
change.
says-
You are
some
making
things
the
that
changes.
Something I do. My son's only 8 weeks. I would get a jump rope. even
Oh,
though
congratulations, man.
Thank you, brother.
Good for you.
It's been it's definitely changed me as a man. One thing I do, I get the jump rope first thing in the morning, and I jump up in front of him. I do
Mhm.
push-ups in front of
Oh,
him,
that's dope,
jumping
yeah.
jacks in
I
front of
love
him,
that.
and he starts to raise his hands to move because I want him to get programmed into activity.
Yeah.
One thing that my spouse knows is that my son loves movement. I get home, I grab him, we're going to walk. Right, we're going to walk. I want to see his dad moving consistently,
Well, things are caught,
not taught.
right?
Yep.
And look, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this because it needs to be said. But using your kids as an excuse to not work out and not prioritize your fitness, that is the most dishonorable thing that you can do as
Disrespectful.
a
Absolutely.
fucking man. It is
Oof.
disrespectful and it is a disservice not only to yourself but to them, because your kids are gonna do what you do, not what you say. They're gonna
Yeah.
watch what you do,
That's right.
and they're gonna act accordingly. And if all they see is you coming home after a long day's work, having a few beers in the fridge, laying on the couch,
Watching
eating Doritos,
TV, yeah.
watching TV, just being a fat sedentary piece of shit, then guess what?
Oh, I love this.
Guess
shit.
what? Eventually, that's going to be them in 20 years,
correct.
30 years.
Poison.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's your legacy.
brother?
If you are a man who is not disabled, elderly, or terminally ill, being fat is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. Period.
Let me go in on that real quick, right? I was thinking, I'm like, as a man, as the head of our household, right? If someone comes and disrespects your wife,
Mm.
can you step up as a man and take care of it? Number one.
Yeah.
Right? Does she have the confidence in you as a man?
Do you have the confidence in yourself?
Ooh, yeah.
Oof.
Ooh.
Right.
That button's
Number
getting
one,
used.
right? This is the most time it's been used, by the way. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank
Bro,
you.
I'm telling you, brother, I've been a part of different shows. I've done shows with Brad and Andy Frisella and this is by far one of my favorite shows right now ever.
Great
Awesome,
topic.
man.
Great
So
topic.
brother, flowers to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So one, right? Can you step up as a man? Do you have the confidence in yourself? Does your wife have the confidence in you? Does she feel safe and protected around you? That's number one. I know my wife does, right? Number two, if someone tries to kidnap your son or your daughter, can you chase this person down?
Or get
Can you
tired.
protect?
Yeah.
Right? If the answer is no and no, then you may want to get with Chris.
Well, I would also argue that you'll never get the softest version of your woman unless she feels like you can protect and provide for her.
Agreed.
Yeah, she's gonna be in her masculine.
Well, what?
That's right.
She's gonna be in her masculine if you're in your feminine,
Oh,
because you're gonna activate your estrogen when she activates his testosterone. So now you have the opposite effects happening in the household.
I get a lot of hate online because I put out a lot of content of me coaching my team, and there are some workouts that I
I
do.
love the hate you get on social media, bro. I love
That's how you know
it.
you're doing something
Well,
right.
there's
I
some
love it.
content that I do where we're working out and it's just the guys. Like I've done a workout with the ladies, then I send them to breakfast for Women's Appreciation Day at Nutrition Solutions, and then I go in the guys and I beat the fuck out of them. We train hard, I coach them hard, and I say things like, look, as a young man, which most of my team are young men in their 20s, you should have a six-pack by accident. You are young, you have almost unlimited energy, you're here. You have access to the food, you have these workouts that you're being paid to do, you have access to top shelf supplements, and people get very triggered and act as if abs don't matter and it's not a big deal, and it's not about the abs. What they fail to recognize is if you have abs and you're not like a crackhead, right? It's obviously a result of you working hard and being disciplined for a consistent time period, a long enough time period to facilitate that result. And the thing that I would like to say to all those people who say, oh, well, abs don't mean, Eddie Hall is like a power lifter,
doesn't
big
want
fat
abs?
power lifter. They start like
lying,
using
bro.
all these like outlier examples. Like
Yeah.
this UFC fighter doesn't have abs. Da, 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 da. It's like, you're missing the point. First of all, that isn't you.
They're probably not the champion.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And first of all, that's not you. Okay. Secondly, if every man who did not have a six-pack was given the option to wake up tomorrow with a six-pack, 100% of them would do it. So don't tell me that it doesn't fucking matter. It's not about the vanity. It's about being disciplined. It's about having high standards with the food that you are putting in your body. And when you have a six-pack, when you are physically fit, you're going to be a more confident version of yourself, which is going to make you a more capable, competent version of
I
yourself.
want my wife to be able to say, honey, our washing machine is broken. Take your shirt off. I am washing my shirt on your stomach today. Get the soap.
Abs.
Get the soap. That's one, right? Number two is, brother, if I can't get abs in the next 6 to 12 months through your nutrition and the accountability that I have for myself, and
I'll shut the company down.
Yeah,
and the
retire.
accountability that I have that I have in this organization, I'm gonna go get the Oscar de la Hoya.
Oh,
What?
What's that?
we talked about the Oscar de la Hoya this
You gonna
morning.
wear a bra?
I'm gonna wear a bra.
That's what he did. That's
Well,
what he
well,
did.
look,
What
let's
are you
just
talking
talk tangible.
Do you know what I'm talking about when I say I'm gonna go get the Oscar de la Hoya?
No.
Based off the way you're saying it, I would assume he got some.
He got abs implanted,
Oh,
and
Jesus.
Oh, he
don't
did
get me
not,
wrong,
bro.
they look good. Kudos for him for getting abs implanted. But the fact of the matter is, when you take a look at the rest of his body, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think about these weird fads on the internet about bodybuilders? I heard two of them, which I can't even comprehend. One of them is there's people saying, "Oh yeah, you need to drink breast milk," and the other one is you need to drink urine. It's good for you. It's good for your body. Like where does shit come from? Like where do you think that?
if people are doing that and they're getting results, awesome. I could give you 100 other things that you can do
Before drinking your piss.
before reverting to drinking piss.
Hot
And
PT.
yeah, the milk though, I understand. I mean, the milk obviously would be extremely nutrient dense, so I could see how that would be beneficial and advantageous from a health standpoint. But again, there's other ways to do it. But I know we're almost out of time here, but I would love to talk specific, tangible action steps that you're going to take to facilitate this result.
Let
Can we
us
do that
Halloween-
now? Can we do that
Yeah,
now?
let us have
that's
it.
what I'm,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let us have
Lay out the
the
recipe.
simplest. There's people listening and watching out there, and they're probably gonna need. You know how it is, brother. Let's take a complex or what could be seen right as a complex process, and let's simplify it. Let's make it down to the 3rd grade level.
that's exactly what it is. It is a process. See, as entrepreneurs, we have systems in our life that allow us to increase our productivity, to allow us to get the most amount done with the least amount of energy. So as a busy person, which most of the people who are listening to your podcast, they're likely very busy, on the climb, trying to grow, trying to become something more. Just like in your business, you have to have systems. With your fitness, you have to have systems.
Mm.
So I think the best thing that you can do, what I would do if I was you, well, first of all, you investing in nutrition solutions or any meal prep company
No, I'm
for that
going with
matter.
Nutrition
Yeah,
Solutions.
that
I've
right
done my
there.
research, by the way. I want you to know.
Cool.
I've used a couple of other, and they're good, but I like the process of what takes place at your shop.
Yeah, and we have the highest quality food
I
anywhere.
know. I've done my
Elk, we're
research.
things elk,
Yeah.
venison, bison. We even have organ meats on our
Yeah.
menu now. We try to just be very unique and on the cutting edge of nutrition. But
I
the
love
other
it.
thing that I would do if I was you, and what a lot of people watching this could do and should do, is invest in a personal trainer.
Mm.
A lot of guys look at that as like a badge of dishonor, like, oh, I'm inferior. It's like, no, you're smart, you're intelligent, you are accountable,
Accountability.
because it's not that they need to necessarily teach you how to work out. And that's what a lot of people think. Oh, I know how to work out. It's like, well,
Yeah.
why ain't you then?
Yeah.
But it holds you accountable not only to the workouts, but to a higher standard of output. Because when you're working with a trainer, you are without question going to train harder than you train by yourself.
Correct.
That is just human nature.
Yep.
So having somebody to not only hold you accountable, but to push you out of your comfort zone, by doing those two things, using a meal prep company where you at all times have clean food in your fridge, ready to eat in 2 minutes, and having a personal trainer, you are essentially forcing the result that you're after. It is a process. It's a system. It's one that you do not have to think about. When it's time to eat, you reach into the fridge, you heat up the food, you eat it, you get back to what you're doing. You're fueling yourself systematically to optimize your being, not just arbitrarily eating haphazardly throughout the day when you get hungry and,
Yeah.
As we wind down, by the way, I do have 2 last questions for
yeah,
you.
please.
But I also want to state that, I'm a man that loves hard. I work hard.
Yeah, you do.
Why are you laughing?
Because I already know what's coming.
I'm a man that loves hard.
Yep.
If you ask my wife,
on.
I'm a man that loves hard.
Yeah.
I'm a man that works hard. And I'm a man that fucks hard.